Imagine a secret army, but with no real tanks, no real guns, just art supplies, giant balloons, and really loud speakers. These soldiers didn't fight with bullets, they fought with tricks. They built fake tanks so real, the enemy thought thousands of soldiers were coming. They blasted battle sounds so loud it shook the ground. And they dressed up to act like generals. It sounds like a movie, right? But it was real. And for 50 years, nobody knew about it. Today, we're telling you the secret story of how artists and actors fooled Hitler. The Ghost Army wasn't like any other army. In fact, most of them had never even been in a battle before. They were painters, actors, sound experts, and even fashion designers. The US Army chose them because they were good at making things look and sound real. There were only about 1,100 of them. That's smaller than most schools. But their job was huge, to trick the enemy into thinking a giant army was coming. When they landed in Europe in 1944, their mission was simple, but dangerous. Confuse the German army so the real soldiers could move without being attacked. They set up fake camps, fake tanks, and fake radio calls. Even the laundry hanging outside was fake. They didn't want medals, they didn't want fame, they just wanted to save lives. And their plan worked. The Ghost Army began in early 1944 during World War II. The US Army had a wild idea. What if we could trick the enemy instead of fighting them head-on? To make that happen, they needed creative people. The kind of people who could turn a plain balloon into something that looked like a real tank. They found painters, set designers, sound experts, and even ad men who knew how to grab attention. These men didn't just think outside the box, they didn't even believe in boxes. They trained at a place called Camp Forest. Here they learned how to set up fake gear super fast, sometimes in the middle of the night, so it would be ready by sunrise. Sound experts worked with scientists to record real battle noises. Tanks rolling, soldiers marching, trucks driving. Then they learned how to play them back so loud it felt like an army was really there. Others trained to act, pretending to be generals or soldiers from other units. They even learned how to walk, talk, and salute just like the real thing. When training was done, they packed up their fake tanks, their sound machines, and their costumes, and sailed off to Europe ready to fool the enemy. Okay, now here's where it gets really fun. The Ghost Army had 3 big ways to trick the enemy, and they were all super clever. First, they used fake tanks. These weren't made of metal. They were made of rubber and filled with air, like giant balloons. From far away, they looked real. Even up close, they could fool you if you didn't touch them. They also made fake trucks, fake guns, and even fake airfields. They painted them, put them in fields, and made them look ready for battle. The enemy's spies would see them and think a huge army was there. Second, they used sound. Big speakers, the size of doors, were placed on trucks. These could play battle sounds so loud you could hear them 15 miles away. The recordings had tanks starting, trucks driving, soldiers shouting. All real sounds recorded at special army training grounds. They even made the sounds change so it felt like the army was moving across the land. Third, they used fake radio messages. Every radio operator has their own style when they send Morse code. The Ghost Army learned how to copy those styles so well, the enemy thought they were the real soldiers. They sent messages back and forth, making it seem like huge armies were in one place, when really they weren't there at all. But wait, they didn't stop there. Some soldiers dressed up as generals and walked around in towns where enemy spies might see them. They drove jeeps with fake army numbers, ordered fake supplies, and told fake stories to locals. All part of the trick. With all these tricks, fake tanks, fake sounds, fake radios, and even fake people, the Ghost Army could make 1,100 men seem like 30,000, and the enemy believed it. The Ghost Army didn't just practice these tricks, they used them in real battles, and they worked like magic. In 1944, before the famous D-Day landing in France, the Allies wanted the Germans to think the attack would happen in a different place, called Pas-de-Calais. The Ghost Army helped make that lie look real. They set up fake tanks, fake radio calls, and even fake generals walking around, so the Germans kept their troops far from the real attack spot. Later, in a place called Brest, the Ghost Army made it look like a huge group of soldiers was surrounding the city. They blasted battle sounds at night and set up big fake guns during the day. The Germans believed it, and spent days waiting for an attack that never came. One of their most amazing tricks was in March 1945 at the Rhine River. The real US Army wanted to cross in one place, so the Ghost Army pretended they would cross somewhere else. They set up hundreds of fake tanks and played super loud attack sounds all night. The Germans moved their soldiers to defend the wrong spot, and the real army crossed the river safely. In total, the Ghost Army pulled off more than 20 missions in France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Germany. Each time, they fooled the enemy and saved thousands of lives without firing a single bullet. By the end of the war, the Ghost Army's tricks had done something incredible. They had saved lives, a lot of lives. Historians think their missions kept between 15,000 and 30,000 soldiers from being hurt or killed. That's like saving an entire small city. And remember, there were only 1,100 of them. That's smaller than many schools, but they made the enemy believe there were tens of thousands of soldiers. The Germans wasted time, fuel, and soldiers chasing armies that didn't even exist. Every time they did that, the real soldiers had a safer path. They proved that creativity and quick thinking could win battles without firing a shot. After the war ended in 1945, the Ghost Army went home, but they couldn't tell anyone what they did. Their missions were top secret. If someone asked what they did in the war, they had to make up a normal answer and keep the truth hidden. Years went by. Decades passed. Still, no one knew, not even their families. Finally, in 1996, 50 years later, the US government said, "Okay, you can talk about it now." The soldiers could finally share their amazing adventures, and the world was shocked. And in 2024, the last surviving members were honored with one of America's highest awards, the Congressional Gold Medal. It was a thank you for all the lives they saved and all the years they kept the secret.
Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video.